We'd like to bring you some medical coverage this morning, so we bring in Dr. Barbara Bumberry. Good to see you this morning.
Morning.
We are talking about something that is so prevalent right now. We're talking about computer overuse syndrome. Now, I think a lot of people will associate that with the eyes. We'll get to that in a second. Let's talk about the effects that this could have on your body. A lot of skeletal, musculoskeletal problems, right?
Yeah, those are actually probably the most common. In fact, about 50% of college students are going to experience some type of musculoskeletal pain, most commonly affecting the neck, shoulders, hands, wrist, back.
And everyone's going virtual now, so we've all been through this. We're at the computer for so long, and it's cramping and it's other things like that. How long until you feel these effects? Is it just being at a computer too long? Typically,
it's after about 4 hours of use or more. And a lot of it's due to not having a correct computer station setup. You know, we're working at home, we're working at our coffee table or a kitchen table. If you've got a chair that's not appropriate, like a dining room chair, if it's too low, most computer screens, especially if you're working on a laptop, are actually too low, stationed too low. If you've got multiple screens where you're constantly looking back and forth, that can also contribute. If you're reaching up for your keyboard, it should be a little bit lower than your forearm. So those are all things that can contribute to the soreness.
I'll have to watch out for that. There are prevention tips, though, that you have for this. But as you said, spruce up the workstation and invest in that.
And that's probably the most important. So you want a chair that's adjustable. People have different heights. You want an armrest on it. And like I said, your elbow, forearm should be a little bit higher than your hands when you're typing. If you do have multiple screens, you want the primary one to be right in front of you. And you want to make sure that the top of the screen is about the side of your vision. So you don't want to have it too low where you're kind of looking down or hunched over.
Do you have any thoughts on standing desks? I think we see a lot of those actually in our newsroom right
now. Well, one of the recommendations is if you don't have a good computer station workplace at home, you can alternate between sitting and standing. So you could take a kitchen counter, or even an iron board and turn that into a workstation. Or set your computer up on top of a box to raise it up, and so that way you spend part-time sitting and part-time standing, and that'll help cut down on some of the musculoskeletal problems.
Is there a correlation with age with this? Are kids that are homeschooling, virtual schooling more susceptible because their bodies aren't fully formed? Well,
kids are definitely more susceptible to the vision changes, the eye problems that we can see. But in general, all ages, kids, college students, adults are all at risk for the musculoskeletal symptoms.
Computer vision syndrome is from staring at that screen for too long. We have some prevention tips right here for you, right?
Yeah, so a lot of times when we work on the computer, we don't blink as much, so we tend to have more dry eyes. So making sure you're blinking regularly. You can use artificial tears. You want an anti-glare screen. And then, like I talked about, you want to make sure you've got the computer at the right height and that you've got the primary screen directly in front of you, so you're not constantly looking back and forth. And just taking frequent breaks can help. For any time you're on the computer for more than a half hour, hour at a time, you should get up and just take a couple of minutes of a break, and that'll help too.
I do want to bring up as well one last thing. People with laptops, those things get heated and they're on your lap. That could affect you, right?
They can't. There's actually something called erythema ab igni, which is a rash that develops that causes either dark or light-colored spots, and it's from the infrared radiation given off by the laptop. And so people that use it on their lap all the time, or if they're sitting in bed and they've got it on their stomach, they'll develop this rash on their lap or their stomach. And most of the time it's benign and it'll go away. But if they continue to do this over an extended period of time, we're talking years, it can actually cause changes in the skin that can actually lead to skin cancer.
Wow, okay, so something that everyone needs to take note of, because this world is going to be virtual for a while now, right?
And probably more so permanently, even after COVID's gone.
That's right. Dr. Bumberry, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Computer tips, everyone. You got to use them. Stay with us. Daybreak in 10 is next.